Welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chozen Live Podcast. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations. Each week, we feature a guest that will help us stay in the know. We're a podcast that brings the community to you every Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chozen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, the founder of Chozen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. As always, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for coming back again. I appreciate each and every one of you. So if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe so that you always know when we go live. And if you're on Facebook, be sure to like and follow so you too can always stay in the know. So this month's theme is Bonfire Conversations. And we've come around the bonfire to really have a heart-to-heart, friends. We started off with giving care with Monique, and man, she did an awesome job. Her honesty, her transparency. Then we had I'm Not Okay, because sometimes we got to be honest, friends. And that was with T-Hubs last week. Tonight, we are going to talk about take care of you. And friends, if I'm honest, sometimes this is probably one of the hardest things that we could do. Make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Consistently and intentionally taking care of ourselves. So tonight, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Tonight, little switcheroo, we have Byron who's going to come and share with us about take care of you. So let's get on into it. Tonight's guest as shared is Byron. So help me welcome Byron for Take Care of You. Woo. How are you?
Pretty good yourself. How you doing?
I can't complain. It's a good day.
Good.
Awesome.
That's what's
So,
up.
what'd you say?
I said that's what's up.
Yeah, good day. It's Monday. I'm waiting for Friday, but we'll pace ourselves.
Little process.
It's a process. Not my favorite word all the time, but I embrace it.
Okay.
Honesty around a bonfire today. So here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. Jack Cornfield. Again, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. What are your thoughts on that quote?
Say it again.
What are your thoughts on that quote?
Okay, I'm sorry. I think we tend to care more about other people than we do ourselves. So that's pretty much in the gist. I could do the, scripture wise, we tend to love our neighbors as ourselves, but then we don't know how to love ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you have to be able to have the love or care for yourself to give to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think about that quote. It's twofold.
Yeah. Agreed. It's definitely easy to help somebody else, but sometimes when we have to then turn on ourselves, either we feel unworthy, don't deserve it, or it's better to go to something else.
Yeah, or we don't have enough time for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We'll self-sacrifice and give out time to other people,
Mm-hmm.
eliminating the balance that we need.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Agreed. So, friends, as always, I have prepared some questions to help guide tonight's topic. But to all my chosen friends, if you have any questions or thoughts, be sure to comment below. Right? So, get into it, Byron. Tell us a little bit about you. Who is Byron?
Byron is that's a good question. It's like when somebody asks you about yourself, you want to be grounded. You know what I mean? But as far as vocation wise, Byron's a counselor. He's a / construction guy / dad / counselor. These are some of the I guess, hats or titles or ventures that I've been involved in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think one of them defined me completely. It's just different facets.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked at Slayton School for 5 years dealing with juvenile. Wood School Service dealing with juveniles. Wood School Services, well, that's Langhorne. Um, and Delran in New
Mm-hmm.
Jersey dealing with clients that had mental health issues. And I went to school and got a degree in biblical counseling, and also got certified in life coach,
Okay.
so I can better equipped to help. Yeah, so that's pretty much who I
Got it.
am.
Well-rounded is good to have your hat in a couple of different areas because you never know which one you have to pull out.
Yeah, I might have to fix the door or something.
Yes. You got to know how to do it. I'm going to call somebody. Um, or try myself. We'll see. Home Depot has some great classes. But getting into it, tonight we're talking about taking care of ourselves, and we just shared how that could be hard. Even initially trying to summarize who Byron is can be a task too, because again, most times we're more focused on others than we are on ourselves.
Yeah.
And then if we are focused on ourselves, they're like, oh, you're conceited, you're into yourself, you're this, you're that. But we have to find the balance, and sometimes finding that balance can be hard. But when you first think of self-care, what comes to mind for you?
Um, 2 words. First is care.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 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 Being kind to someone or yourself, and considerate. And then the second thing that comes to mind is self. How do we identify who we are ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to self-care, because I think what happens is a lot of times we try to take care of ourselves, but we don't tend to know who we are.
Mm.
So when it comes to applying caring, we don't know where to apply it. So we're doing things, but we're not, we're not,
Hitting the mark.
there you go. That's what I was trying to say. You're not
Yeah.
hitting the mark. You know what I mean?
This is good already. Because if we don't know how to care for ourselves because we don't know ourselves, how can we care?
Yes.
So then
Yes.
what's that process look like if we were trying to find out who you are?
For me, my point of view is from a Christian background,
Mm-hmm.
triune being, meaning that we're physical, our physical part, we have a soul, and we have a spirit man. So when you're taking care of yourself, you got to identify which area needs attending to, if not all, because it could be physical care, or taking care of yourself could be, you can have a physical pain that needs to be tended to. You can have emotional or psychological issues that need to be counseled,
Mm-hmm.
or you can have spiritual development, a weakness in that area. You need to be spirit led, born again, you know, filled with God's word, which
Mm-hmm.
which will cause you to be, well, which is in a sense taking care of yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's good with the breaking out of three, starting with the physical. Ironically, I did a conference this weekend, and when I was on my way, I'm riding, I'm like just jamming to my music, and then the light goes off saying low tire pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm like, well, let me get some air because we're on a highway. We don't know how much further or what could happen in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So let me make sure I get air in the tire. So I go to the Wawa. And as I'm there, the thought comes to mind of you could be so busy, but you have to still make sure that your vehicle is good.
Yeah.
So that was the vehicle as the car, but also
Yeah.
our bodies too. Like when's the last time we went to the doctor? When's the last time we went to get a physical dental specialist and things of that sort? So in that part, to care for ourselves, that's a piece too, taking the time to intentionally set up an appointment. Sometimes we avoid the doctor because we don't want to hear what they're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to put me on medicine, or they're going to say I got what mama had or grandma had. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. So, it's I say this too. It's like we spend more time managing our vehicles and our homes, but when it comes to our body or our temple, like when we'll get our car, our oil changed on a regular, but we won't detox our system on a regular, like once a year. You know what I mean? We get the oil and the filter change,
right?
But we won't detox ourselves. We won't detox our kidneys or our our
Right.
organs or something, but it's yeah, we spend more time on external things than internal things.
Right. And that's important because if we're not taking care of ourselves, how can
Yeah,
you help somebody else?
yeah.
No
And
way.
we also lose our external things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're not here, you can't possess these things that you're killing yourself to obtain.
Mm.
So
True.
yeah,
When the world naked, leave the world naked. You can't take none of these things with you.
not at all.
And you're hoping that, well, yeah, you can't take none of these things with you. And hoping that your affairs are in order
Yeah,
so that nobody's stealing when they are trying to get your goods. Another conversation. Um, another part, though, was that mental piece, though, of knowing where we are mentally and knowing if we need counsel to be able to speak to somebody about what's going on. And sometimes
yeah,
we avoid that, too.
yeah. I think when it comes to it with mental health issues, it's the denial factor that we run into, or we think that we can do it within our own strength.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the Black community, though, it's been shunned so much. You don't talk about that. What goes on in my house stays in my house.
Right.
But the sad part about it is what goes on in your house affects everywhere else that you go
Everywhere.
because you take it with you.
Everywhere.
So,
Everywhere.
so yeah,
Because they're like, why are you upset? Why are you irritated? Why are you mad?
yeah,
You don't want to share. So then the day is rocky when you're at your job and you're like, something is wrong with her, something's wrong with him. They won't say
yeah,
what's going on. We're just going to stay clear of them. But
yeah,
sometimes you can't really stay clear. You have to interact with these people. So we have to have our emotions together to be able to get through that day respectfully.
yeah. And hopefully, because sometimes what usually happens is to somebody that see what was going on with the other individual and recognize the same symptoms in them,
Hmm.
and they're usually the best candidate if they're seasoned to go say, you know what, such and such, such and such. And they're like, oh wow, okay,
Yeah.
because they done been past that hurdle, so they can identify it.
Hmm.
Hopefully that's the way that they go.
Right.
But yeah, as far as counseling, that's what I'm saying. As far as counseling, identify certain issues to grow.
Mhm. And that's big because you have to then step in the mirror to know that something is off.
Yeah, but sometimes when it comes to being off, your environment tells you it off.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm always nasty and I walk into a room and then people keep gravitating away from me,
Hmm.
then it ain't everybody.
It ain't, but sometimes people be like, something's wrong with them. It ain't me.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Sometimes, yeah,
I don't say delusional or
yeah,
insanity, but something
yeah,
else has to change within us sometimes, and sometimes we don't realize that.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so then the third component you were sharing was like, was being spiritual led. Share more of that.
Spiritual ed. Well, let me go back to the other one. Psychological,
Okay.
because it's twofold. It's consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
That's when walking to the room and you're aware that this reaction is happening once you come into the room.
Right.
And then there's the other one, that's the subconscious. When you just oblivious, you're like the bull in the china shop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look around and say, who did that? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And that's another part that you got to be mindful of. But then there's also too is your emotional stability.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are not emotional, mature.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you get the people that's flippant or the people that's just impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
They process and signals to tune it down. Don't work too much. you know. And then also you got to consider where your will is at. You know, what tense of future? What tense of future are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do you see the tense of future? Um, Everything is catastrophic. Yeah, I mean, so you're willing that.
Mm-hmm.
So those four things when it comes to your soulless part of yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
know, subconscious, your will, and your emotions. You
Yeah.
got to consider. Then you move over to a spiritual aspect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Which is being led by God's spirit, but you first got to be born again.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the I'm gonna say the attributes that you get with the spirit of God first is wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Then second would be communion, in fellowship with God. And then the third is consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
spirit consciousness. You know what I mean? So when it comes to self-care, if you know, if you are aware of your environment, external, and we're in your environment, internal, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're mindful of what you're thinking in your heart,
Right.
and then how your emotions are affected by it, and which way your will is leaning, you know, where you need to build up,
Right.
you know, and then it transfer over to the wisdom of God, conscience of God, and communing with God and communing with others. And this with the communing with others part it connects to loving yourself and loving neighbors, because that's the communion.
Mm-hmm.
We have a common union with one another.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we're talking about caring, so we have a common union in caring.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And also common union with caring for myself, my physical self, my soulless self, and my spiritual health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you say emotionally mature. You have to be emotionally mature.
Mm-hmm.
What is the? Sometimes people feel like they are emotionally mature, but they're not really not. They can be hot-headed, easy to go off and things of that sort, or don't even realize, again, that it is a challenge. What are some steps you think someone can take to become more mature emotionally?
I think that's a good question, because we all in some area is not emotionally mature.
Right.
That's the good part about it.
We're
Yeah,
not alone.
yeah, but emotionally mature is handling 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 the situation
Mm-hmm.
responsibly. You know what I'm saying? Being mindful of how it affects you and other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hoping for the best of the outcome.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not just, well, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not a good answer.
Right.
I mean, it is what you make it.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the mature part.
And
But
we're all growing day by day.
exactly, because we all got different challenges.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be the same challenge every time.
Right. Right.
You know, so yeah.
One day we will turn the other cheek. The other day we're gonna hit their cheek.
I
Um,
mean,
might be a little petty, a little extra spiteful, and
yeah,
things of that sort. Well, with maturity, we learn uh, one, we know consequences. Actions have consequences. So then, with
yeah,
maturity, we find out, yeah, I don't want that. So let me just mind my business or keep on walking. Because we don't have to always, go to every fight we're invited to.
exactly.
Kind of let it
With,
ride.
with maturity, we learn what not to do.
Yeah. So right from wrong, let the babies learn as they get older.
Yeah,
Because we mature, we grow. Okay. So that was a lot of layers of self-care, of identifying who we are first to even know how to care for ourselves.
yeah,
So that we have identified who we are.
mhm,
Now we're trying to care for ourselves.
mhm,
Um, what are the pieces that causes us to be hesitant? Like, I now know who I am. I know that I need some counseling, or I know that I need to connect with other people, because if I'm alone too long, I might get in my head and mess up. I know that I need to maybe take some anger management classes so I don't flip off on
yeah.
everybody, have crazy road rage and things of that sort. Um, well, what are some pieces that causes us to hesitate in caring for those pieces of ourselves? And what are some things to help us to engage in self-care just a little bit more, the importance of doing so?
Um, some of the things that I'm gonna say cause me to hesitate would be time.
Mm,
Now, I'm not thinking I got enough time to for me. And then the second would be procrastination.
that's a big one.
You know what I mean? I call that the constant preparation while nothing's getting done. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and then you don't really get to it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's the same thing. It could be self-reflection, because self-reflection too can be just spilling the wheel, but you're not really being productive.
Mm,
You know, so I think those are some of the things that can be an obstacle for self reflection. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm saying for hesitating, you
mm-hmm.
know, for self care.
So you
Yeah,
said procrastination. So now we want to talk about the benefits of actually doing whatever it is that we're saying that we want to do to help care for ourselves.
yeah,
Um, procrastination means that now was the umpteenth hour and maybe all the spots are booked for that massage that you were trying to do, or you now can't take off because you have a big report to do now at work, or whatever, things of that sort. So what should we link on to be a driving force, help us to not procrastinate so that we really can engage in that self-care? And I think I'll let you answer that and then I'll share the other thought.
Let me see. I got so much going in my head, I lost my thought. Say the question one more time.
Yeah. So because you're procrastinating, but we're going to talk about the benefits of really jumping in both feet to engage in that self-care. What are the benefits of jumping right in instead of procrastinating and waiting?
Okay. I'm gonna say productive reflection too, but reflection with the point of solving the situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, identifying what the situation is, what's the outcome of it, and what's the solution.
Mm-hmm.
The benefits.
Benefits of self-care.
Benefits of self-care is it's becoming more of that's a good one. A whole person. A whole person. The benefits of it is taking responsibility for self.
Mm-hmm.
The benefits of it it's being able to take care of yourself, and then you're able to also to give that, to initiate that care to others.
Mm-hmm.
The benefit of self-care would be knowing who you are, having compassion for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this too: the benefit of self-care is learning to like and love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and another benefit I would say is being responsible for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so benefit of self-care is self-love, learning to love yourself, so you can share that with other people.
Yeah, something different about seeing somebody that has a confidence about themselves. They're
Yeah,
excited, they're motivated. You can help push them, but they kind of already got it, like they're feeling it.
yeah,
But it's for sure a process, because of finding out who you are and intentionally taking that time for yourself to care for yourself can be hard. Because again, as shared earlier, we feel like you may feel undeserving. But another benefit is that after you do it, you take a day off
yeah,
to really enjoy yourself. You're like, oh, I got to do this more often. So you do it more
yeah,
often. It helps you to not burn out as well.
yeah. Um, that's one way, but self-care too is it's. I mean, just say physical self-care for self could be exercising,
Mm-hmm.
reading self-help book,
Mm-hmm.
um, proper diet, um, friends,
Mm-hmm.
family. You know, just creating an environment where
Yeah,
you're building yourself up. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Hey, Antoinette, she said, you defeat procrastination when you just jump in.
Amen.
It's hard though, depending
Amen.
on what it is.
Well, again, with procrastination is the analyzing the situation.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Is this water too cold?
right.
Is it too deep? How well can I swim?
Mm-hmm.
Who else is
Overthinking
looking
too,
at me?
sounds like.
Yeah. Who else is looking at me?
Yes,
Then you're like, well, I'll wait.
yes. A couple weeks ago, we had a guy. He is a personal trainer, things of that sort. So he's somebody like going to the gym, and procrastination could be somebody, because you said exercise, could be somebody being hesitant about going to exercise because
Yeah.
who's looking at me? Is it going to
Yeah.
work? Am I wasting
Hmm.
my? Do I have the time?
Yeah.
And all the things that we get in our head about. But again, if we just jump right into whatever it is that we're trying to do for ourselves, it's a benefit.
But one point too, another point for as far as procrastination is what I tend to, as far as myself, notice when it comes to procrastination is you want to do it perfect.
Mm,
Yeah, I want to do it perfect the first time
yeah.
instead of giving yourself some grace of saying, well, you know, you get better in the process of the mistakes that you make. You know what I'm saying? So you'll get better, one, far as the skill, and you get better, two, far as the knowledge that you gain from your mistakes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So procrastination, if you look at it through a good lens, different lens, can actually be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You say procrastination can be a good thing.
Well, not procrastination, the benefits
You make this.
from yeah, let me say the benefits. Let me say the benefits of
Gotcha.
pushing through the
Gotcha.
procrastination. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? Yeah, you got me.
I just making sure, because
I
I'm like
appreciate that.
Byron said.
Procrastination got benefits.
Yes. Now, okay, got it. On the flip side, sometimes procrastination can be a benefit because if you're trying to buy a car and you just go ahead and jump and you didn't do any research,
Okay.
procrastination is like maybe making sure all your steps are together. And those aspects, it is good, friends.
Yeah.
We know what he's trying to say. I just tease him.
I call that zeal without knowledge.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You're making decisions, but you ain't got all your facts together. You just want to hurry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But when you slow down and pump your brakes and do your research, you can get more bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So over
There you
here,
go.
Jen Cares, we work to also normalize the importance of addressing our mental health. And since we talked about that piece with self-care, sometimes we will ignore that life is overwhelming and keep on trying to push through. When sometimes we do have to take that pause to address mental health. So you said you work with some youth and things of that sort. And sometimes youth are sometimes more open to kind of talking to somebody if they have somebody to be consistent. Adults, we kind of feel like sometimes we got it, we grown, we got this. But what were some tips that you were able to use to connect with the youth to help them open up and share about what was going on that also translates to adults?
Don't be pushy. Respect their boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Be humble. Don't come off like you that. You know what I mean? But then also too, come off as I'm gonna say the best word is meek. You're not intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to come off extra. You know what I'm saying? And that's the key right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you talk with you got some sense, and you don't be their peer. You're not a peer. You know what I mean? And then too, you generally have a concern because people know phony. You know, I know when you really want to help me or you want to do something so you can talk about how good you were.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's what I learned. And be available. You know, but sometimes it's and it don't necessarily have to be a whole bunch of advice. You can just sit there like, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Okay. And that's the conversation, but you're there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I got somebody here, but where the young team at home, ain't nobody home.
Right.
So he used to being, it's what you call it, the power of presence.
Yeah.
Just being there, just listening. Oh, you want to say something? I'm hollering, right? Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to, okay.
Right.
So you let them dictate it.
Yeah. Which also proves beneficial for us as those that are adults, tuning in and listening. Knowing who's around you. If you are feeling like you're not the greatest or you're not at the best of your game on a day, sometimes just being around people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing who you can be around, because there's some people that'll be rah-rah or help you stay on a pity party, some that will not be inspirational, help you get out of that dump and things of that sort. So knowing who the positive people are and like to help you to process through, sit through, think through whatever that is going on.
Yeah. And it's yeah. It's like, before, especially with adults, it's you would assume that you do the self internal perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and then being honest with yourself, because I think that's one of the hardest part, because with a child you understand because they don't have that much discernment, so they easily they're more naive.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to with adults, we know too much. You know what I mean? We know too much and know too little.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay. And then we put blinders on ourselves because we don't want to see our whole self.
Yeah.
We'll pick the part of us that's grandiose or the good part and we don't pick the part that we want to disown. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the part that need to be fixed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I understand it too, because you can't trust everybody with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to find out or find a person or counselor, uh, clergy person that you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got this issue, this situation that I want to get some victory over or deal with. What do you suggest? You know, how do I go about it? And they might say, well, I can't help you, but I can refer you here. But just to be open, you know what I mean? Just to be open. Because I, growing up, man, I seen a lot of people on drugs. And even me, when I went to the rehab and stuff, I noticed two different things, though. When I went, I was happy to go.
Mm-hmm.
When they went, they still had reservations.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a fun time for me. For them, it was like, I can't wait to get out, boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's the real condition of the heart. You know thyself to thyself be true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're not really being true with yourself, then you're wasting your time and everybody else's. So that's what the grown folks,
Right.
you know what I mean? You know, be true to yourself and be vulnerable enough to trust somebody.
Mm.
You know?
And strong enough to try somebody else, because sometimes we can open up and tell somebody and
Yeah.
they aren't the right person.
Yeah.
But if we really need their help, the hope is that we don't give up and that we're going to find somebody else that can help us.
Yeah. And then too, sometimes it ain't about the personality, it's about the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time I was supposed to get my license and I hated my instructor.
Mm.
He was nasty, but that was a part of his training.
Mm.
My process was to stick to it and go through it.
Yeah.
And I went through it flying colors. Then he explained it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we became like best friends. Like, wow, I got the license and I got what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I understood. So sometimes personality might clash because that clash or that personality might be that buffer that you need. So you won't be, I guess, dependent or making this like a friend type thing. I don't need you to be a friend. I need to be your coach, your counselor, you know, I mean, your drill sergeant to get you where you need to get to. And once you get there, then I can let down the veil a little bit. Say, man, I was rooting for you all the time. I know you thought I was just kicking you in the butt, but I was rooting for you.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So don't give up just because the person, if they got your answer, you need that answer, humble yourself and do what you need to do to get it. You know?
But why is that's the part that gets hard though, because like it makes you think of how iron sharpens iron, right? It's not a fun process. It's not a good process. You feel, but the end results are amazing, you know, because you're sharpened by it. But you do sometimes come across those people who are not nice, that are nasty, that you're trying to be an adult and walk away, but they like wanting you to spend some time with them a little bit more than what you know you want to. And that's a process too.
Yeah. But too, because there's no shoe to fit everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what you're saying too, but there are some people that are just nasty that just don't fit.
Mm-hmm.
I get that too. And that's when you use your own discretion. Like, well, no, this isn't tough love.
Right.
This is something else.
Yeah.
This person's nasty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, use your own discernment too. You know what I mean? But I'm saying just don't give up if a person's a little challenging, because it's going to be challenging. You know what I'm saying? Coming from transitioning is challenging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Especially if you got a mindset, a pattern mindset, and it's for years.
Right.
You know, that's a tough. So, but yeah.
It definitely go different ways. It's funny. I hear my pastor often say, he'll say, now granted, you can go to the church, you meet some people in the church, okay? When you're at work, you kind of take and you run with it because you got to pay your bills, right? So it's like, if you can take it at work, you'd be like, I can't take it at church because it's free for me to be there and things like that. But again, our perspective and our mindset of what's helping us to be a stronger person.
Yeah. Can I I'm add on that too. It's funny, the same thing, like when it comes to church and it comes to work, but it's also funny too when it comes to your relationship and it comes to your boss.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Your boss can be nasty and put all this, a task on you that's like, whoa, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
But if your husband tell you to do something, he gets the lip. If he gets the attitude. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow. But if pastor tell you to do it it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's just this perceived power struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you humble all across.
Right.
You don't select use, and especially back care shipping free.
Oh,
So your number one priority is your wife and your husband.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's the self-care. So if your boss ain't even more important to your husband.
Right.
Yeah. And the pastor's not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just we gotta understand what our, I'm not gonna say care, what we put our strong affection towards,
Mm-hmm.
which causes us to care about it, which causes us to submit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And this is the right thing. Is it because it's the bread? You know what I'm saying? Is it because it's the prestige?
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't getting that kind of bread from your husband or the prestige from your husband.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's going on with that?
Right.
Because that's not self-care, because you're destroying your own home.
Yeah. Which is a big part of communication too, because if that becomes a problem, the hope is that the household is talking about that to find out, okay, so this is what's happening. This is what we hope to change.
Yeah.
What are our actions to make sure that change happens?
Yeah. It's interesting. One more thing I'm going to get off of that, because it's almost like when you go to a job, they want you to have qualifications already.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to a hospital saying, I feel like being a doctor, so can I get this position? They're going to say, okay, well, what's your resume? What's your credentials? What's your
Mm-hmm.
school? I don't have none, but if you give me the job, then I'll do it. And that's the way we tend to go into relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're getting to a relationship. Well, I heard this before, personally. I'm not going to do those type of things until I'm married. And I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about mutual, respectful things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, wow. No, you become that first doctor, then you get the position. You become that first husband, then you get the wife. You become that first wife, then you get, you know what I'm saying, the husband. So we get a difference sometimes. We want what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to self-care, we want what we want without the preparation of obtaining it and being responsible for it. And then if you don't have that training preparation, there's not self-care, because you can't maintain it or you.
Right.
You know. So
It's definitely all a part of self-care, because that piece of, the relationships that you have, if you don't know how to maintain your finances, if you don't know how to maintain your attitude, nobody's going to want to be around you. Nobody's going to want to always foot the bill for you. So you have to be able to have that balance to take care of yourself and your responsibilities
yeah.
before adding something else to the equation.
Mm-hmm. To the best of your ability, because
Yeah.
when you find someone else, they should be a asset to you. And if you're not not as versed in that area,
Mm-hmm.
got you.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. But yeah, I agree.
Okay, gotcha. So another thing that causes us to maybe be hesitant with self-care is stress. Stress of the things of life. And stress is a lot of times things that we have no control over. It's just happening and we're trying to figure out how to balance it out. What are your words and thoughts of managing and balancing stress or dealing with stress and all things stress?
First, I would say probably is you got to identify what the source of it is.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it coming from, and how is this stress affecting me? That's the first thing. And if it's a person, then you have to either put some boundaries up or have some type of talk. If it's a place, then don't go there. If you go to your family house and they always remind you of who you used to be, this is a thing. If you got a habit or something, or a situation that occurs and it calls you to reach out for your habit, then you gotta get some counseling and figure out, how can I break this thing. But you have to identify what it is and how the best way to resolve it. And two, if you need help with it, because sometimes we can't do these things on our own. We might can identify, but we need a support system. And I think that's one thing that we lack in self-care. We don't tend to reach out with support. You know, just call me on Tuesday and pray for me. Pray with me. You know what I mean? Call me on Tuesday, or either or. Pray for me, or pray for me, or pray with me on Tuesday. You just need some type of support. But that's a few things that I think about when it comes to that. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I can't hear you. Wait a minute. Your microphone.
There we go. So sorry.
All right.
Part in the beginning of 3 pieces of the mental, the physical, and the spiritual as well with stress, of really identifying which level it is, because sometimes stress in our body can be health related. Sometimes it can be mental related because just overwhelmed with saying yes to so many different things.
Yeah.
And the spirit is we're not trusting God when God said He was going to do what He said He was going to do. Like the process. So it's identifying which bucket it falls in to know how to best handle it.
Yeah, cast your cares on Him, but you don't trust Him well enough to cast them, so you're holding on to it. So you're getting the effects of the fruits of it.
Yeah.
Manifesting in your mind and then into your body, and then into your emotions. What He's saying, oh, well, if you give it to me, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And we all got that. We all got that thing we got to hold on to.
We all got something that we want to. We were like, yeah, I gave it to God. It was like, but did you? But yeah, answer. She said the source. Identifying the trigger. That's really is finding out what caused that stress. Did you cause the stress? Are you worrying about something that you don't even have to worry about? Sometimes you'll go to the doctor and they'll prescribe something. We're not listening. We're not taking it. And in some communities, you'll get the medicine and you'll take it. And when you feel better, you stop taking it.
Yeah.
But most times you have to take it until it has ended so that you for sure got rid of whatever it was. And sometimes it's stress because we're like, oh, we feel better. So I'm good now.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's only for a season. And the tricky part when it comes to the medication, though, it helps you manage. But you want to get to the point where you kind of figure out what the root cause of it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you find out, okay, well, you having these anxieties and panic attacks because when you was a child, you was emotionally and psychologically abused by your parents by leaving you in the closet for 4 days. So we have to deal with that trauma. And once you understand that it's okay to be in the dark, face the fear of the dark, you won't have these panic attacks. Easier said than done. So I'm not making it light.
Right.
But what I'm saying is bypass the medication and look for the root. But a lot of times people don't want to look for the root because that requires, again, self-reflection. That requires more work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we know we're in this microwave smart habit now world.
Yeah.
So you pop a couple pills and you think you're cool. But what happens is that creates a greater dependency.
Yeah.
So you didn't fix anything. You just medicated. And then once that medication, once your system tolerates it more, you eat more. So you're not fixing it. You just creating a bigger problem for later on.
Yeah.
So.
And that you have to definitely be careful with, because if you start with one thing and you feel like it's doing well, and that has now become your saving grace, and then you keep on using it, then you increase. After a while, you need a higher high, and then it creates a larger problem. So the hope is that you identify what it is and you get it at the root, because if not, some weeds are coming.
Yeah. Find out what the cause and what's the holistic solution to it. Not create another dependency.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I understand, because some people, like you said, they feel good and they get off of it.
Right.
But the root cause is not dealt with.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like, about somebody in a relationship and they do something that they'll offend the other person and they go, baby, I'm sorry. But the root cause is not dealt with. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, apology is not with your words. Apology is with your actions.
Yeah.
So that's when I know you dealt with the root cause, because your behavior changed. Behavior changed, and I won't need no more apologies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
More apologies related to that, because something else is bound to happen, but at least in that area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So in that, we're talking about habits, right? So then sometimes in taking care of ourselves, we want to make sure that our habits that we're choosing or our coping skills that we're choosing to address issues are healthy ones. As healthy as shopping can be, you could go overboard if it's no longer in your means, you
Yeah.
know? That process of finding healthy coping skills help us balance taking care of ourselves, because vacations are great, but if you can't afford them and you keep on robbing Peter to pay Paul to get on one, or scheming and scamming, you about to get caught. And that not be what you want it to be.
Yeah. Healthier coping skills. Well, the first one, as far as me, healthy coping skills, with self-care is boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because in order to cope, to function correctly, I gotta be in my environment. And sometimes that requires boundaries. Sometimes it might require time,
Mm-hmm.
by myself. Or it might require me asking for help. Another good coping mechanism though is this is interesting because a lot of people say forgiveness, which is true. That helps you. That's self-care.
Mm-hmm.
But the other side is forgiving the other person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah. Let's see. That's off the top. Yeah, that's what I got with that.
Got it. Yes, forgiving the other person is a great self-care piece, because sometimes if we have not forgiven them and they have not apologized, or they have apologized and for whatever reason you don't believe their apology,
Yeah.
or their actions show that they didn't mean an apology, we have to be able to let that go. So in defining those boundaries of what it is that helps us to have peace, sometimes it is, you know what, I forgive it, I'm letting it go. And boundaries is a big part of self-care too, because sometimes, again, we say yes to a lot of things that sometimes we should say no to.
Yeah.
Um,
One more thing too, for our self-care too. Sometimes it's putting yourself forward, saying, "Okay, yeah, I'm first."
mm,
Not constantly denying yourself before you're denied.
right.
That affects your self-esteem and how you view yourself.
Mm,
And then the flip side of that too is saying, "Okay, well, I got too much on my plate, so I'm gonna fall back." That's another part of um, self self-preservation, self-care.
yeah.
And I don't want another. I'm good. Yeah.
That's a hard one. I'll say that's a hard one for me. Sometimes I don't always do well. Someone was asking me to work on something, and I took 10 minutes at least to talk myself out of it, but yet talk myself into it and still couldn't do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, so come to grips that sometimes you can't do it. It's not within your capacity, and being okay with that, because somebody else will come
Yeah.
along. There's more than one fast food restaurant out there.
Yeah.
Um, if Chick-fil-A is closed on Sunday, I promise it's somebody else that you can get a chicken sandwich from.
Yeah.
Um, to meet their need. Either you make it or you're going to buy it from somebody. Um, and being okay again when you can't do it.
Yeah. Don't condemn or beat yourself up. Be peace with the decisions. Find peace with the decision that you make.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not being done out of any type of malice. It's like
Right.
I ain't trying to purposely hurt you or anything. I just need some me time. And but I like that too, because it's an indicator if they're your friend or not. Because if they care about you, they'll say, I understand. If they override that and don't really care,
Yeah.
then you get your antennas up. But it might be they really, really need it. You know what I'm saying? But just keep that spinning. Do they
Mhm.
care about my well-being?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So been there, done that. Sheesh.
It's hard. It's hard. But that's also a part of self care, being able to say no, being able to refer,
Yeah.
being able to say my office hours are from 9 to 5, whatever it is.
Hmm.
Protecting your peace, establishing peace, um,
Yeah.
is self care.
Yeah. And asking for help.
And ask for help. Ask for help is actually Because it goes back to the thing of what you're saying of like, feeling like you know everything, you don't know, not you don't know nothing, but I went to a conference and they were saying, ask questions, keep asking questions, even when you think you know the answer, because sometimes you get another perspective. And sometimes we could be so focused that we'll miss other opportunities because we're just zoned in on whatever it is that we're looking at. And I know that, oh, that's another way I can go too. That's another thing I could try as well. And knowing what that is.
Yeah, that's like think tanks when they got, I guess, personality types. They got the one who's the leader, the one who's the teacher or the thinker. They got the one who's the fun person, and then the peacemaker. But there are 4 different perspectives or lens that people are looking through. Just like the gospel too. You know what I'm saying? You got John, which is, son of God. Then we got Matthew, which is the king. And then we got Luke, which is the sacrifice. And then Mark, which is the servant. So all those are different lenses that you can look through Jesus through.
Right.
In this situation, am I being the head? Am I ruling this situation, or am I sacrificing this situation? You know what I'm saying? Well, okay, am I serving this situation? Or am I, or am I in my most righteous self in this situation?
Right.
Acting like the son or the child of God in the situation. But that's a really good point you made. Yeah. Look at it from a different perspective. Ask why, or ask, more questions, even though you think you may know it, but you don't know it from different other people, different perspective and experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good.
Especially when you're in a room of other people, because their walk of life has granted them opportunities that you may not have experienced yet, or that you don't want to experience. You can learn from their lessons and things of that sort. This is funny. I'm gonna go back. My brother, he's saying extra help. Ooh. So, and I get it, because extra help, sometimes we ask for help from people and they don't do it how we do it.
Yeah.
And we feel like we should have did it. But we have to be able to also give them steps to be able to lighten our load. Because if not, you feel like you're going a little cray-cray. You feel like you need a cigarette. You feel like whatever it is you need to help get you back on, to woosah, calm yourself down, you have to do. Or they don't do it at all. Yeah, now if they don't do it at all, we have learned our lesson and we want to move on to somebody else. But it can be hard asking for help. It can be.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean not to ask because they didn't do it. Somebody else will. But wait, you talking about me? I didn't do something? I'm teasing. Sorry. But, and then sometimes people need reminders because they have so many different things going on. But I get that too, because you don't have time for that. Funny story. I was at work and the guy, he sent invite for a meeting, but he sent it on the wrong day. But when the thing popped up, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go, I gotta handle this situation, make sure it gets fixed. So then I'm sitting in the meeting and they're like, the person was supposed to be, and it was like, oh, I have it in for tomorrow. I was like, I did say I wasn't available today. I said I was available the next day. And they're like, well, why you accept it if it was the wrong day? If I gotta help you to put the right date down or what I put, then I'm doing, you get irritated, agitated in it all. So in asking for help, sometimes people will fuzz the lines, but then when you make it clear to them that they need to pay attention to what it is they're doing, it helps us move efficiently. And we have to be able to speak up.
Yeah.
And that's self-care too. Again, being able to speak up for ourselves, advocate for ourselves, or what it is that we want and need to be successful.
But a good part with that too is based on your response to his correction, how he received it, also is indication how willing he is to receive help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's another conversation for another time because I'm still having some complications, but it's my self-care says for peace. Okay, whatever you want to do, son, these are the things I need. I put in black and white, make sure you make it happen so that we get this project done. But I get that can be frustrating. But again, in that process of creating and establishing our boundaries, all right, we work well together over here, but don't work well together over here, or because you weren't sure, this is what I need.
Yeah.
To make sure you get done what needs to be done. Yeah, as Crystal said, watch who you ask help from. That's a good one too. Well, they all didn't ask for help. Because sometimes we ask help from people and they don't even know what they're doing. So why do we ask them?
Yeah, I think sometimes we might ask I'm saying again, zeroed out knowledge. I'm hurting, fix me. And you didn't, take the time to evaluate, this person's credential. And not even so much credential. I'm gonna say they're concerned for people, because you can have all degrees, but I don't like people.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to treat you right, So
Yeah.
because you're not convenient for my pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, sometimes we hurt, and then we got the people that looked it for, but ain't really solid, and you deceived. You
Yeah.
know, you think they can handle it. They not. They animated.
And yeah, and that get frustrating too, because sometimes you'll see people and it seem like they're doing so much better than you are in certain lanes.
Yeah.
It's like, but they ain't doing nothing. But just trust your process.
Yeah.
Just trust your process.
Because, and then too, like, and I think all of it, just my perspective, I think all of it is a part of your development, or a part of your story.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go to this person, they do this to me, and I go to this person, they do this to me, and I go to this person, they do this to me. Then I finally get to this person here. Now I got these different understandings.
Mm-hmm.
I got these different opportunities of wisdom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I finally get my answers. So all that made me enriched. If I choose not to allow it to make me bitter.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So my discernment is a little more sharper. You know what I mean? So I'm optimistic. I don't like it at times, but I have to switch my viewpoint to make it beneficial to me.
That's that emotional maturity.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's like, oh, just as low.
Yeah.
And she said, over promising and under delivering.
Yeah. That's a false title, though. That's the person that got the title, but don't have the training or the real experience.
Right.
So they can't deliver the goods because they don't have the goods. They just got the position. You know what I mean? So yeah, that happens a lot. But you can tell that too. You look for their fruit.
Right. But what's interesting? So I'm gonna give two examples that I recently saw or have seen. Recently, this guy was arrested because he was portraying to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And he won 26 of the cases he received.
Ooh.
I feel like he should still be a lawyer. He know what he's doing, right?
He's doing it.
But then we had the young guy who was portraying to be a doctor. He was not a doctor.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody was really harmed, but clearly that man needs to go somewhere, because the hope is that if you're a doctor, you're prescribing some stuff, you really know what it is that you're doing. So two different, sides of the fence, but still being mindful that it's still some people. You can have a mechanic shop.
Yeah.
But that don't mean you know how to work on cars, is all we're saying. So making sure that you're doing your research of who it is you're choosing to connect with, link with, gain support from.
Let's say wisdom is justified by her deeds.
You
know what I mean? So you can look for the fruit.
Yeah.
It says too, wisdom is justified by her children. So if you got good, wise parents, then the kids should be the fruits of that. So if you can help me with my, say, drug addiction,
yes,
you should have some type of fruit with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can help me with my marriage, then yours should be one that I should want to model. I'm just saying.
So
just saying.
So I think that goes to the thing of like where they be like relationship goals and things of that sort, hashtag relationship goals. Some people aren't always fully transparent about what's really going on.
True.
From being human, we know that everything is not perfect. Like they smiling that picture, but they was cussing each other out as soon as it was over, or whatever was happening, things of that sort. So I enjoy when people can be transparent and knowing, look, it has not always been easy, but this is what's helped us to get through. Because nothing's gonna be perfect. We are changing every day, evolving every day. What I like yesterday, I don't like today. I always use the whiz. In that 5 minutes of the song, he went from green to yellow to red, which you had to be able to be hit. And then he was portraying to be somebody who he wasn't, right? But all in all, finding what gives you peace is a piece of self-care. What brings you joy and what makes you content and feel like, okay, this is where I should be. And communicating when you feel like it's not.
Yeah. But too, I'm gonna add, knowing that you're in a safe place to share, because then that just to bring forth an opportunity of frustration. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's yeah, that's being a safe place to be transparent, to be received while you're being transparent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's a good part that you consider first, because your audience might not be the
Mm-hmm.
audience that you need to be transparent in.
Yeah, use it against you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, oh, they just gave us some fuel for fire.
Yes.
They chew your bag out. You're like, oh no, but you don't really care. You shouldn't if you're being transparent. You should
Right.
be mature
Right.
enough to put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but then again, like I said before, then that just reveals what you're around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I look at that as like, okay, thank you for letting me see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not for an opportunity to hold on to be, oh, they did this, and you know, use it for opportunity to find some pain to hurt myself.
Right.
No, thank you, Lord, for showing me that.
Right.
I still love you, but I know how to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how to move now.
That's the sure part of self-care too, knowing who you can be vulnerable with.
Exactly. That's well put. That's well
And
put.
and that people could be vulnerable with you, because if they telling you stuff and like,
Yeah.
oh, did you just hear? That ain't what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do with that information.
Yeah.
Sunshines. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was that you keeping some as they're keeping some. Now, if somebody's coming to you and telling you all somebody else's business, it's almost like, you know what? I'm not telling you nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go, you tell them that?
Hmm.
I'll be like, you tell them that? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, you tell them that first. And then you then
Yeah.
and then tell me what they say then.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much though, but don't give it to them first.
Yeah.
You know what I
It
mean?
gets messy. It gets messy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then they'd be like, well, I signed on to it because I was in agreement. I ain't
Yeah.
agreement.
And
That's
that gets messy too.
yeah.
Like, yeah, because Jennifer said, Jennifer didn't say nothing. She walked away from what you was saying.
You heard it, didn't you? Like, oh God,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been listening to this trash. But I got you.
Yeah. And again, part of self-care is being able to remove yourself from situations that's
Yes.
not beneficial for you.
Mm-hmm.
But also putting yourself in some areas of opportunity to be able to grow and do those things. So again, it's definitely it's a seesaw, a balancing and finding out when you should be in, when you should be out. So
Yeah.
again, only you know that part for you though. If you need some support, going to that person who you feel that you can share with and open up with to talk about whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So just like going to the doctor, get a referral first.
Yeah.
I mean, a character referral.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Especially or whatever, church, work, community, whatever, even family if you need be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Get a referral, get somebody you can trust.
Yeah.
You know?
Same thing, especially in jobs. You know, the job is interviewing you, but you also interview them. And
Yeah.
then when they're doing their yearly assessment, you're doing a yearly assessment of them too. Does this still fulfill the purpose of what I need to do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah. Well
Self-care.
put. Well put.
Yeah.
What's the turnover rate?
Right.
Why is it so high?
Right. How long has this position been in existence?
You know what I'm saying?
How's the
What's,
staff morale?
yeah, what's the biggest complaints of the employees?
Yes. What do you like most about your job? They be like, oh, I wasn't expecting it. What do you like? Because you're trying to bring me on and then you're going to bounce. I'm going to be like, what's happening?
Somebody did that to me. They told me to join this situation here. And I said, okay, well, how long you been on it? You know, fairly new. But as soon as something else opened up, so I'm going to leave. And I said, whoa. So what the message you gave me is, I'm not going to commit to it, but I want you to commit to it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that. No, stop that. Stop it.
Right. And granted, you may be a better fit, but clearly lay out those pieces so I know you're not setting me up, because they could have some things going on, an investigation, about to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Get information with me.
Yeah. That's where your boundaries come in. You're like, oh, no.
Yeah. You know, got me in some water I did not know I was getting in.
Yeah. So I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. Very. Oh, this was good.
Yeah.
What's something that you want us to walk away with? What will be a summary of today that you will want us to walk away with?
A summary would be for self-care is know yourself, know your environment, external, internal. And to know yourself, me personally, what works for me is a relationship with God, because he's the source.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my perspective, if he created me in his image, likeness, and gave me dominion. So now I know my image, I know what my character should be like, and I know how I should be moving. You know what I'm saying? And if I have a problem with the product, I go back to the manufacturer. You know what I mean? So that gives me peace. But that works for me. And people, places, and things, because sometimes when I'm not taking care of myself, my environment will tell me that. Sometimes my company I might keep, be telling me that. I'm like, what I'm doing back up here where I used to hang out at? Yeah, I mean, this ain't building me up, but that's where I'm at in my mind or in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not there to elevate, then I shouldn't be there. I'm just going to visit. No, you need to check that out. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to let people walk away with. Have a relationship with God to know who you are, so you can take care of yourself the way God expects you to take care of yourself, and that's by knowing Him. Yeah. And all this other stuff.
Yeah.
You'll understand how to get personal time, self-reflection, setting boundaries, putting yourself first, pulling yourself back. You understand those things, forgiving yourself, forgiving other people's procrastination. You understand those things. Okay, well, I'm in denial right now, because, Spirit of God be like, that ain't the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't all glorious. You fix that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's what I would recommend, a relationship with God, and in the process, you'll have a greater relationship with yourself. And that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so when that said, you better go to the manufacturer. That's it. The manufacturer's the one that can help you, because he know how he made you.
Yeah.
And he can help fix you up.
Yeah. What parts is wearing through?
Yes.
Where the replacement needs to be.
Yes. Very good. Very good. So I thank you again for joining us tonight. I hope that you have a great evening.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight for Take Care of You with Byron. I do hope that you enjoyed yourselves on tonight. Don't forget our quote of the day. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. Jack Kornfield again. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. So friends, make sure that when you're being compassionate to others, that you're also taking the time to be compassionate to yourself as well. Be sure to join us next week as we close out with Jeffrey Goodson for Standing Strong, because we're talking about the bonfire, and we want to make sure that when we end this month, we are standing strong. Why? Because we gave care. We found out that we weren't okay, and it's okay as long as we don't stay that way. And tonight we talked about taking care of ourselves. So we're going to close it out with standing strong, because that's the only way we can make it. It is if we keep standing strong. If you'd like to be a guest on Jen Cares, be sure to email me at info@chozencounselors.com. We probably are taking a pause in December, but I will be back in January for sure. But we do have some things coming up in November, so be sure to continue to tune in. I do appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for commenting, and all that jazz. Until next time, I love you all for real. Good night.
Friends, we thank you for joining Jen Cares this week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Unable to watch us live? Be sure to find us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also visit our website, chozencounselors.com. That's Chozen with a Z, to stay in the know and, most of all, never miss a show. If you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you sharing it with a friend. Most of all, be sure to tune in for our next episode, as we specialize in bringing the community to you.